G'day, everybody, and welcome to the happy hour. G'day to my man, 43 OG.
What's happening, Dozza?
Mate, heaps. Just, Friday Arvo.
Let's get this happy hour started.
That's the way. Beers to you, sir, and the chat. Got my invisible beers. And yeah, there's been heaps happening, man. Pretty standard in Hexaco. But yeah, lots of stuff going on. G'day to the chat. We got Base Radian. How you going, mate? High Expectations as well. G'day, mate. He's in there early. And Jerry, oi oi. Claz, oh, poor Claz has to work. Yeah, she's working tonight, so that's all right. But all right for me because I'm not working. But yeah.
So what happens if no one actually walks into emergency? Is it just chill?
I don't think that happens ever. I think people are always just getting injured, or they don't want to pay for a GP, so they just go to the emergency. So I think they're always pretty flat out there. Oh, Kaiser, that's awesome. There you go, man. I'm not sure if that's the same Kaiser who I got this background from, but if it is
that the Kaiser one from Twitter who has been doing some great tweets in recent months, I guess?
Yeah, they've been doing heaps of awesome stuff. And I've pinched a few of their graphics. If I add this to the stage, oh no, it's got that. Okay, but yeah, you'll probably see it in a tick anyway. But this background is dope. It's really sick. It's this dragon, and I guess it's also because Chinese New Year is tomorrow, and it's Year of the Dragon. So I thought dragons are cool.
It's true, they are cool. By the way, guys, there's only 5 people watching, which is a travesty. It's a travesty. So
that's
please,
all right. They'll filter in
this. Listen, just go and share it on social. If everyone in the chat right now, there's only 5 of you. If everyone in the chat just goes on Twitter and shares it, maybe another 5 people will come in. Hey,
that's it. That's the way to do it. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. But yeah, how have you been, 43? What have you been up to, man?
I have just been doing just been working, just getting back into the full routine of being, kids back at school, working, doing all that sort of stuff.
Real.
I've got a question for Base Radian about ZKZX.
Oh yeah.
How easy or hard is it for you to do a code comparison between the original Tornado Cash, the Tornado Cash 2 software, which ZKZX was forked against? Do a triple comparison. I found a program called Meld. It's open source, which can compare the three codes.
Yeah, awesome.
But given that I have no coding experience, I can only see that.
Just get AI.
I can, I'm not sure how I would feed that into AI. I'm not sure how I'd go about doing it.
One red flag for me now, apart from the fact that I haven't seen it working on testnet.
It's working it's working on mainnet.
Yeah, it's working now, but it's just that I've heard some stories that maybe that Twitter account that was originally a different Twitter account, because people were like, how come I'm already following these guys? And I don't know who they were. And it had changed a few times. So it's just I don't know. I have skeptical hippo eyes.
But that's why the code comparison is so important.
True.
If it's like a legit fork, and it's a fork of because they said that they forked Tornado Cash 2, right?
Right.
So that's different from the original Tornado Cash, right?
Yeah, not sure, bro. I don't know a lot about it, unfortunately. But yeah, I was going to say, so I've been busy, man, and it's been hot here. So it's 41 degrees today and tomorrow, and that's 105, I think, Fahrenheit. It's been really hot. So, and I've been doing some cool stuff for the square kilometer array, which is this radio telescope in the north of my state. And it's pretty cool. Like, so we were like certifying the Faraday cages for the correlators, which sort of get all the data from the radio telescopes. And there has to be radio quiet. So even the worlds, like they've got waveguides and things to put air in there and penetrations for like fiber and other things. And so all the waveguides and penetrations, if they've got even like a 7 millimeter crack in the worlds, they will leak at like 20 gigahertz. So we've had to scan all these enclosures and make sure that they don't like leak at these different frequencies. So it's been really cool playing around with stuff, but it's just the whole SKA thing. I had it up here before. It's crazy. Like I find it fascinating. They've got this massive sort of array of telescopes in South Africa and in Western Australia. So there's 130,000 of these log periodic antennas. And the amount of data that they get, like it's unbelievable. There's also this one called Pathfinder. But yeah, they're talking about like,
how big are these things?
So the small log periodics are relatively small. This is like a whole sort of, so they have tiles of them.
They look like pine trees, don't they?
Yeah, so they're kind of like your TV antennas because it's similar frequencies, like in the UHF. They're just like phased arrays, and they use interferometry to sort of get all the data. So it's the effective square, like the effective surface area of a square kilometer. Like that's the effective size of the dish. So if you can picture like that, that's how big the actual dish size would be with all these antennas sort of synced up. But yeah, some of the stuff, man, because they use supercomputers and everything to actually process the data. They're talking 300 petabytes per year, 135 petaflops per second. It's crazy, man. It's like, yeah, wow. So 100,000 times faster than the projected global average home broadband speed.
They're not storing that on a blockchain anytime soon.
No. So yeah, anyway, check it out. Like some of the stuff, if you're interested in radio astronomy and things like that, it's pretty cool.
It's crazy, man.
But yeah, apart from that, there's been
super interesting,
like, lots of cool crypto stuff going on.
So can we just before we move on,
sure.
So this data that's coming in, you're getting, what are you getting? You're getting wave frequencies, like
so they're scanning different frequencies. So they would it's effectively like a spectrum analyzer, but they're they're searching for distant galaxies and things like that. So I think the Pathfinder one, they basically scan the entire sky. And
so they're looking for galaxies. They're not so much looking into galaxies and like drilling into galaxies and looking at planets inside like solar systems and galaxies and things like that.
Also, they look for the wobble in the orbits and things like that. So, and that sort of gives a indication that there's a gravity deformation, which implies that there's planets and things like that. But yeah, it's going to be just finding, if you've ever seen like the Hubble Deep Field and things like that, and you see, that you might have a galaxy with 300 billion stars, and there's like hundreds of billions of galaxies. It is quite phenomenal to sort of wrap your head around the scale of these things. So there's a lot of things out there to look at.
And it's like, and the thing is, it's like you look at these images, these generated images, because we're not getting images, we're getting like, they turn that into images, like it's an interpretation.
So there's raw data, and then they process it, I suppose, in different.
It's an interpretation of the.
Yeah, it might be false color and things like that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for sure.
But it's so interesting because no one's ever going to go there. We're never ever going to be there.
No.
You know,
It takes 30,000 years just to traverse our galaxy. Like it's at least.
Is that
like,
just is our galaxy?
like
what about our solar system? Like, isn't our solar system like just 10,000 years just to get past the Oort cloud or some shit like that? Like, isn't it like some crazy thing just to get out to, like, you get out to Pluto and that's just
it depends on where you define the heliopause. Like, so where Voyager and these telescopes have gone past the heliopause. I guess it depends on where you define the edge of the solar system and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I think even just the Milky Way is like tens of thousands of light years across at least. So, you know, and that's the thing is they just talk about it in terms of scale. So if you're traveling at the ultimate speed and it's taking tens of thousands of years to get across,
which we can't travel at.
Yeah,
like, which we can't. You know, it's like we can't even.
You can't even get anywhere near those speeds.
Isn't it funny that like we talk about it in terms of light years? We can't even
as
travel.
If we can go that quick. Yeah.
We can't even go that quick. It's like 10,000 years, but we can't even go that quick. So if we want to talk in terms of how quick we can go, like how much slower than light speed can we go?
Yeah, so I think at that point,
way slower.
At that point, you know, propulsion methods are probably obsolete because you like I say, if there's hundreds of billions of galaxies and we can barely traverse our one, then it's like you need to start folding space and using wormhole tech or whatever if you've got any hope to see any of these other galaxies. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cool. You see some cool pictures.
Could it be a matter of like it's questionable whether a living organism could ever go through a wormhole? Like, you know, that's question. That whole thing is questionable. Like, we might just get torn to pieces, but could like
spaghettified. Yeah, no doubt.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, the gravitational forces at play are pretty, astronomical.
so it's like that's breaking things down to atom size, right? Am I right?
Yeah. So I mean, you know, a singularity, like to traverse a singularity. There's different types of black holes and things like that have like Kerr black holes and things like that. That they have toroid singularities, and there's all sorts of things. Man, I could talk about this for hours, but we should probably get back to crypto A, because and plus it's like it gets to a point where you can measure frequencies and you can interpolate, you know, data and extrapolate and things like that. And you know, because I used to work on a gravity wave observatory as well, so like you can measure it in different spectrums. Like you can measure gravity waves from coalescing black holes and things like that, which are like deformations in space-time, and you can measure these things, you know, electromagnetic spectrum, like with this radio telescope, and at different frequencies and things like that. You can get all this data, but for one, you can never actually go there, but you're also you start to get to this point of like philosophy where you kind of go, okay, well, at these scales, or even at the quantum level, like you're breaking down like things down to superstrings and things like that. If you can't measure it through experiment, if it's not repeatable through experiment, you sort of get to that point where you're sort of like, we don't actually know what the fuck's going on, and we're just approximating reality with this model, and then we think that this is the way it is, but you know, but then that's when it opens it up to like a philosophical discussion.
And that's so interesting, and that's where like you typically get the religious arguments coming into play. Like that's what they always go, oh, but isn't at the fringes science, like just, you know, theory, and like almost at that very fringe. It's like, well,
I would say
that's where it is right now. That's where it is right now. But like in 100 years, we might have like that fringe might be out further. So, you know, whenever that argument's made, we're always we're always dealing with the God of the gaps, aren't we? You know?
Yeah, that's a great point. Like I do like how, and people can sort of challenge that and sort of say, well, then what was before the Big Bang? As if you could say that there was a time before time started, you know, and then it's like, hang on a tick. Well, then who created, you know, the universe? And it's like, well, then who created God? And did God create God? Well, then maybe the universe just created itself. And you're sort of going, oh shit, I think I'm going to need more beers for this You know,
Yeah.
you can.
I'm not sure.
Carl
I'm not sure
Sagan
if
did some really
I'm not sure if
well
beers
something
solve that problem, man. Yeah, you
more
probably need
coffee.
something that.
I don't know.
Yeah, something a bit stronger than that. Something probably in mushroom
Maybe get some
format.
scotch out.
You know, mushrooms
Maybe,
came
or
from
you think
space.
hallucinogens?
Probably,
What's that?
dude. Like, I think didn't mushrooms come from outer space? I've heard a theory that mushrooms came from outer space and they're aliens sent here to teach us about ourselves. No.
I suspect it's just toxins, and we're just, you know, hallucinating. You know.
Well, they're the only organism that we know of that can survive the vacuum of space. So isn't that interesting?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends if you're talking about bacteria and stuff like that. But oh man, we're going down a rabbit hole. I think I should try and steer it back to. Do you think
people in the chat
anyone likes
love
this
it?
stuff?
Give us a thumbs up, or press number 1 if you like that, and 2 if you don't like it. I'm just interested. just a little, you know, a little test.
Yeah, that's cool. Base rating said what you might be looking for sounds like a different text between 2 files. Okay. Zigzag, what's good?
Our 3 viewers have spoken, Dozer. Our 3 viewers have spoken. They all think it's interesting.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. I'm never sure if I'm just boring people to tears with this stuff. So I'll try and steer it back to crypto though. There's definitely a bit of a pump going on. BTC I think is up 46K last time I checked. So I think that's just dragging everything up, which is awesome. Yeah, cool. We got look, Bitfinesse in the chat, old school. I used to chat with Bitfinesse in Tangent's old chats all the time.
What's going on,
Bitfinesse? What's up?
What's up?
Kongi, yo. Oh, that's interesting. Spores survive ultraviolet radiation. The sun found in upper atmosphere. Okay. Bitfinesse. Oh, okay. Yeah, tardigrades. Are they those like? Yeah, there's. I think there's all sorts of microscopic bacteria and things like that. Oh wow, there is. Mexican lost in Asia is put him to sleep. Okay, let me bring it back. So I think this is a RH Max site. So you know how he's got some really cool ones like Real DeFi, that sort of stuff.
Real DeFi.
Is it Go Real DeFi? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And this one I thought was really cool in terms of like just having a whole bunch of stuff like Hex Scout, Go Pulse, you know, and then there's all the, you know, how to pulse guides, look into Hex, audit. It's just heaps of stuff here. So it's nice to have it sort of collated into like into one place. Exactly. There's some other cool shit that's been going on. I think we might be getting a new block explorer, which I think would make a lot of people happy.
Yep.
Yeah, so I had to create a Twitter alternate purely to log into this thing because it was like it wanted all the permissions. Like it wanted to like, you know, see what was in my fridge and drink one of my beers. And it was like, do you want me to be able to send tweets as you? And I'm like, no, like what? It was all this stuff. So I was like, I'm going to create a separate Twitter account and then sign it. And look, we're smoking them. You know, PulseChain's got 1,686 votes. Next closest cheer 491. So I really hope we do get a new block explorer because, you know, for all the reasons, you know, you're trying to do crypto on chain and you're trying to track what's going on. You don't want to be mucking around.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I don't know these guys, like whether they are any good or what, you know, but more block explorers, the better. Which is an interesting.
I always thought the main issue with the block explorers was the indexing and just the fact that it takes so long.
Yeah, and just the fact that you're sort of, if you do a transaction, like immediately you want to see who you sent it to, what, you know, make sure the transaction's gone through or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, if it's like pending forever and it's like pending, you're like, I don't have time for this shit. So I just want it to be snappy. That's all I want, really. And also to be able to, like, you know, look up tokens and have dollar values and sort of yeah, things like that. Although MetaMask just recently has started showing USD amount, like dollar values for Pulse. Oh, you're muted, bro.
Do you think that has anything to do with the Coinbase thing?
Yeah, that's interesting because Coinbase have just started listing
like,
the hex. So the big four, isn't it? They've got I don't think they've got Inc, but they've got all the other RH tickers on Coinbase now.
Yeah, it just seems like you know, there's a correlation there, you know, and it just seems like if they're listing it, that could be where MetaMask is pulling some price feed data.
Yeah, interesting. That's probably exactly what it is. Zigzag BTC isn't just hype advertising a year. Market makes excuse to recover vector candles present ETA launch. Interesting. Yeah, it's always hard when, you know, you get these narratives. I noticed this in the 2017 cycle, and it was like, oh, there's going to be, you know, Chinese New Year, so therefore people are going to be at home, and then so it's going to dump, and then the stockbrokers get their bonuses, and people would just retrofit narratives to whatever's happening. So like the price is going down, and they're like, oh, that's because of the stockbrokers. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. I understand it. And it's like, that's not necessarily what the reason is. You're just claiming it. And then, and that was mainly on Reddit. But I realized those guys have no idea what they're talking about. So I just stopped listening to them. G'day, McNuggets. How you going, mate?
G'day.
I got engaged. Congratulations. That's, oh, hang on a tick. Is Erica actually, so it's Hex Top Publisher, I'm pretty sure, is McNuggets' missus. I'm not sure if her name is actually Erica. I'm not sure that. If he's just like, if that's like a joke at like Eric Wall or something, then that's not funny, because I was full giving you the congratulations for that. Sincere congratulations. Yeah, I hope I thought they already were married, but anyway.
I have no idea who you're talking about. I mean,
sorry, they were at the meetup. They were at the meetup. Right, Dom McNuggets. Yeah, he's a good guy.
I'm going to say congratulations. Because
you can't go wrong.
Yeah, regardless of whether it's you know, the whichever Erica it is, it could be Erica Wall.
Well, just as soon as I saw Erica, I was just like, is he trolling me? But I'm not sure. That's probably my fault for not knowing Hex Top Publisher's actual first name. By
the way, congratulations are in order.
Yeah. I'm just going to pull this up because we talked about this the other day. Apparently, the Denkun upgrade for Ethereum mainnet is happening March 13th. Can you believe that?
Is that the dank stank?
The stank sharting. It's the proto dank sharding. Yeah. I did a little bit of research into it because last week I was not really, I hadn't done much look into it, but these guys are saying March 13th, and I noticed they've actually got the block height and the date and the time,
So what is that?
I don't know how they know that
upgrade? What is that upgrade though?
I'm glad you asked. So basically it's actually a hard fork of Ethereum, and it's the Denkun upgrade. So they've got it on these. Yes. I haven't heard anyone talking about this shit. And I'm like, hard fork? What? So Sepolia and Haliski. So I think they had it on the Go Early testnet as well. Yeah. So Denkun, it's kind of, I hate these names, but it's something like it was the Cancun upgrade. You know how we had Chapella and those different upgrades? Well, this is the same thing. They've just mashed these two names together. Deneb and Cancun, so it's Denkun. And so what it is they're introducing the proto dank sharding, which is effectively putting these blobs attached to the blocks. So it's pretty serious like upgrade. They've done it on Sepolia, they've done it on Haliski and Go Early, as far as I know. These are the EIPs that they're introducing. shard blob transactions. I need better names for these things. But there's a whole bunch of things, increasing max attestation inclusion slots. So yeah, I had a little bit of a look into, dank sharding and things like that. And so what was interesting is that they were originally going to be doing sharding, right?
That name just makes me laugh every time, man.
True Blue Hex Enthusiast, how you going, mate?
Yo, how's it going? I heard
yo.
I heard dank sharding and thought I'd come in.
Use that right up your alley. Did someone say stank sharding?
Goodness.
Stank sharding.
All good.
I was just going to briefly just say what I found. So it looked like originally they were going to be doing sharding, right? And which was going to be splitting up the Ethereum blockchain so that subsets of validators are responsible for a fraction of the total data. Then they basically canned that, and they wanted to introduce dank sharding. So then the proto dank sharding was just like a stepping stone on the way to full dank sharding. And so yeah, there was something like with proto dank sharding, they were going to have like one blob per block. And then I think they were going to have 65 blobs per block for the main one, for the proper dank sharding. But so I was looking into it, and they're basically saying that at the moment, Ethereum can only process 15 transactions per second. And so they want to be able to scale it to be able to get more than 100,000 transactions per second, which is actually a phenomenal amount, because Visa, for example, has about 1.5 to 2,000 transactions per second. So 1,500 to 2,000 transactions per second. And they're talking about doing 100,000 transactions per second.
Whoa.
So
that's insane.
Like, what? And I mean, it was only 15 transactions per second before. So like, it's literally just going up by like,
it's quite the improvement.
But
they are layer 2 though. They're layer 2. They're layer 2.
Yes, exactly. So it relies on the roll-ups. So let me just, so let's just see. So why do the blobs make it cheaper? So it's the only reason why I bring this up is because PulseChain might implement this Dancoon upgrade, right? And then so whether we need to or not is the question, because they're doing this because the Ethereum gas fees are so redonkulous. And so, but they're relying on these roll-ups to make it happen. And so I sort of had a bit of a look into, the optimistic roll-ups and the zero knowledge roll-ups. And, it's so the scaling thing about this, it's all about I think they call it the blockchain trilemma. So it's you want to be able to scale it, but you don't want to compromise security. And then you also don't want to compromise decentralization. So it's like, it's a trade-off, but you to be able to maintain, to scale, and also because, yeah, you can have it more secure, but then it's more centralized, But if you have it secure and decentralized, then it's hard to scale. So, but in the way that they do these roll-ups, so the optimistic roll-ups, it basically does like an off-chain transaction. So it bundles a whole bunch of transactions, and then it processes them off-chain, and then it updates the main chain.
So it's like the Lightning Network type of thing.
It's kind of like that, yes. So Lightning uses side channels to go from BTC addresses to each other. So you open up a channel, and then you can go between.
But the idea of it is the same, where you're bundling up a whole bunch of things and then just doing one transaction on the base layer. So it's achieved in a different way, but it's the same, like
like a layer 2, like effectively using a layer 2. Yeah.
So the layer 2, is that going to be a chain? Is that like, or like how?
Yeah. So this is the interesting thing is I think they're planning on, so they're putting these blobs on the data, on the blocks, and that enables them to be able to utilize roll-ups. but I'm not quite sure like what the side chain is that they're going to be doing it. So
maybe it's going to be
optimism,
side chain agnostic. Maybe it's going to be, as long as the side chain like conforms with, you know, A, B, C, and D. Maybe it's going to be side, which I guess would be optimal, wouldn't it? As long as like you could just use any side chain.
So I have this weird thing where I'm not a huge fan of optimistic roll-ups, and I haven't heard anyone talking about this, but the way that they do it is that they assume that all the transactions that they've bundled up and then processing off-chain are valid. And then they have this fraud report method of kind of, if you wanted to do with withdrawal, it gives like, there's like a 30-minute window or something where you can argue whether those transactions have been falsified. And so that's why it's optimistic. It's an optimistic roll up, because it assumes that that all the transactions are, you know, correct, and then they rely on this fraud proofs. So when you look into the fraud proofs, it's like, well, I mean, apart from the fact that you're subject to a delay to allow anyone to challenge that exit transaction with the fraud proof, then you start to become reliant on the fraud proofs proving that there has been an error. But what happens when there is an error? They have to roll it back, the transaction. So then I just think that that's going to create problems where, what about when these fraud proofs find dodgy transactions and then someone's gone ahead and then done multiple other transactions? They have to roll back that first transaction. Anyway, something about this optimistic roll-ups method, it sounds like a clusterfuck waiting to happen, which is possibly why Richard Hart went for... I mean, optimism's been working, you know, fine for a long time.
But how long has it been working on testnet, on the testnets?
That's a good point. Yeah, I think
which is the whole
the
purpose of
dank sharding.
A testnet. Yeah, the whole purpose of a testnet is to flesh out these potential problems with the tech, and for them to be going ahead with this in March, which
after
is
2 weeks,
a month away.
And it's only been on testnet for a couple. Yeah.
Oh right. Okay. Well,
I thought if you're like phase 4 or something of the testnet of the testing phase of all this. I thought they were at like phase 4 or something of all the testing.
Yeah. They could be, man. I'm not an expert in this, like, full disclosure. Yeah. I've just like Googled this shit and just, you know, put it into a bunch of AIs and tried to like cross-reference stuff. But there's probably someone out there that knows more about this that might be able to explain it. But it does seem like it's going ahead on, you know, March 13th, which is like a month away. And so, yeah, maybe my, you know, skepticism of optimistic rollups is unfounded. I'm willing to concede that, but also the zero knowledge.
You're far too much of a pessimist on these optimistic rollups, mate.
That's it. That's right. They should call me the pessimistic rollups. Now, I have said this before. I am skeptical, but I'm not cynical. So I actually want this stuff to work. I really hope it does work. And I'm only giving it shade because I'm skeptical of everything. Anything that anyone tells me ever, I'm just like, is that right? But if they prove to me that it's right, then it's fine. You know, and maybe I'm just being a bit over the top because, like you say, optimism's been working.
Has it though? I mean,
Oh yeah.
Has it been working on? Has all this stuff been working on testnet? I mean, you would think that if they're going ahead with it, then it must be working perfectly fine.
You'd fucking hope so. Yeah.
I think we need Base Radiant on to talk about this.
That's what I was hoping.
Either way, let's just look at what the benefit. Like, if this doesn't work out, right? How good is that for PulseChain?
Yes,
yeah.
Because
it's win-win for us, no matter what. Like, it works out, cool. We got some new stuff we can roll into PulseChain. If it doesn't work out and it screws up Ethereum, I don't want that to happen.
No,
but that's good. That's good for PulseChain. Like, Ethereum screwing up is like almost one of the perfect scenarios for PulseChain. It's like,
so it's interesting that Richard Hart. I remember when he was talking to Erica Wall. And he was saying, well, why don't you use a layer 2 instead of, you know, and so Richard had some really good reasons about, horizontal scaling and things like that. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. But also it's like you have known tech that works and it's repeatable. You start introducing more complexity to a system, then there's more surface area for that to, unintended complication.
Richard Hart is very pragmatic when it comes to code. And he demonstrated this by using ERC20 standard to make the hex contract. There were newer standards. There were more complex standards, but they hadn't been around for long enough. So we decided to go with the tried and tested version. Now, I think the same is the case for PulseChain. He decided to scale. He's decided to fork a layer 1 instead of doing a layer 2 because he didn't want to take the risk of beta testing with people's money. So
yes.
So I think he's very pragmatic when it comes to this sort of stuff, and I think that's a good approach to take when you're dealing with people's money.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Confirmed that Dom is getting engaged, so congratulations again. And Adam Stokes did a 2-minute rundown on Hex. Yeah, there's been a lot of stuff. BitBoy and these guys, just a lot of influences. Even that, is it that Martini guy or is it the other one? One of them.
Yes. A Martini guy. I can't remember the exact name, but yeah, he's been hard on it. Just touching on that, like I love Adam Stokes and watch most of his streams and that, but he was going pretty hard on Hex and PulseChain for a while there, as in talking it like either dodging it or talking it sort of down a bit. And since that price pump, and he didn't even I know it was probably a mix up, but he didn't come to that to the Hex conference either. But yeah, since that price pump, he's been like, there's been a switch turned with him, and then there's like Ben Armstrong and a lot of these people, just a massive flick of a switch and they're all onto it, and that's all they can talk about a lot of the time. So yeah, we're definitely on people's minds, and it's all over their feeds clearly.
Yeah, no, it's
awesome.
It's hectic.
About time.
Like, yeah.
Just 4 years late, fellas. Just 4 years late.
Yeah, that's it. I also like it how they're like, oh well, I've got this much Hex, and if you like my tweets, then I'll buy more. It's like, I don't give a shit what you do. Like, buy some more if you want. If you don't, then see you later. Like, I'm just like, what? I still liked it, but I'm not like, no, I'm not. I don't know why they think that we really care if they buy more. It's like, you should buy more because you might do well from it. But I guess they're just farming engagement. Yeah.
I think that they're just like, it's engagement farming for sure.
So this is interesting. Base rating is saying Optimistic was originally proposed as zero knowledge was going to be too long to launch. We need a solution now. So I still think they've got the zero knowledge roll-ups going on. And I tend to think that is a better way of doing it. And we sort of talked about zero knowledge proofs and stuff last week, I think it was, and the different sort of analogies for it. But effectively, it's about being able to show that you've got information without giving away the secrets and things like that. So like you had the Where's Wally example. Remember you were saying
the Where's Wally example, where I can quickly explain that just for people who
if you can, please. Yep.
So it's like, I need to prove to you that I know where Wally is on this Where's Wally page, right? And because you don't believe me. So what I do is I basically, the example is that, imagine that I get a large bit of paper and I put it over the top, not in front of you, like I do this away from you, and then I cut a hole in that bit of paper where Wally is. And then I just show you the bit of paper with the hole on it and Wally, and they can see Wally through it, but they don't know.
Or Waldo, if you're in the US.
Or Waldo. But they don't. Yeah, and that just proves to you that I know the answer. You know
where he is, but you're not giving away his location within
the context
with respect to it.
Yeah.
The other one that I saw, which was pretty cool, was like, if someone puts like a code into a safe and then they hand you the safe, you can use the code to open the safe and read the code, tell them what the code is, but you haven't given away the code to the safe. So you've shown to them that you know what they're their secret phrase is, but you haven't given away your secret code to the safe. So I was thinking that's a good analogy. Last thing I was going to say about these, thanks, man. I didn't make it up, but I'll claim it. That last thing I was going to say about the roll-ups thing is, if these layer 2s are actually using ether as the gas, like say on Arbitrum, for example, they're using ether as the gas to transact, then what the hell do they need ARB for? Like, people are like, oh, ARB is, this layer 2, token, we need it because it's awesome. But you look into it, it's actually a DAO token. They still use ETH. So the idea, I think, is that, you need PulseX, because once the volume starts going through the roof, and then the buy and burn is going to start cranking the price up, you might need Hex as a store of value. You can get trustless yield, permissionless yield. You need PLS because you need it to transact. It's a gas token, and everyone's going to need it, But whereas things like ARB, it's like, if you don't need it on Arbitrum, I don't understand why. I mean, it's still a good looking chart if you look at it, but I just haven't yet to be, convinced that why would you need it if you don't need it to do a transaction, if you know what I mean?
That's a good question.
Anyway, maybe we need to get into get an ARB maxi in here and explain it. I was thinking this the other day, that sometimes, because I use that Twitter alt to vote for that block scanner thing, that maybe it might be like a sensible thing is to actually go into some of these other communities on Twitter and then see what some of their narratives are, and then go, oh yeah, that's just like PulseChain or whatever. So you can do that inception thing where you go, oh, that's kind of the same, but not as good as PulseChain.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I wonder with the with this proto-dank sharding thing, how if we take that on, where our throughput will go to and transactions per second. Because are we at PulseChain's about 80 or 100? Am I right or not?
That's a great question, man. I mean, I know we have like 10-second blocks instead of 13-second blocks or something like that, or maybe it's 12 instead of 13, but this is slightly faster blocks. So
don't we have bigger blocks as well, or no? Do we have bigger blocks? No,
I don't think so.
No.
But in terms of transactions per second, if we introduce this, I mean, we don't need it to be any faster or cheaper. Like, so the problem with what they're doing with this Denkun upgrade or hard fork is that they're introducing potential error, but they have to do it because their chain is so effed in the A because of their gas situation that they have no choice. Whereas we have the choice of kind of going, well, actually, our gas is pretty good, so we might not take that extra risk. And then I do also wonder with those blobs, if they're attaching these blobs to the blocks, whether people aren't going to be able to exploit that like they did with, the BRC20s when they started to put like NFTs, cramming it into onto the Bitcoin and sort of gumming up that thing. I reckon people, if there's more, I don't think the blobs are actually on the chain. I'd have to look into it more, but I reckon someone's going to cram that blob data with something stupid like a monkey JPEG.
No, that's right. Has 43 just got a blob?
Oh, you got the skeptical hippo eyes. That's nice. That's cool. I like how he's just chilling. Just
hang on. I've got to get him to just like move around. Hang on. I didn't expect him to pop up. Let me get rid of him for a second.
He's just skeptical on everything we say, which is probably, wise. So yeah, there was a couple of other things that were going on. There was 2 coincidences that happened to me this week where I was like wondering about these, different ERC20, these different tokens and things that might be around. And so I was looking into, let's see if I can pull this up, the different standards for ERC20s. And so, we're familiar with ERC20s, and the 721s are the HSIs and the 1155. So a lot of NFTs, like Tang Gang, shout out to those guys. They use this sort of stuff all the time. And I think the Tang Talk Wireless, I think it's a 721, but somehow they've like hacked it to put, audio and doing messages back and forth. So I'd be really interested to see how that works. But I sort of came down to this 4626, and they were talking about yield bearing vaults. And I was like, oh, this could be interesting, to sort of see what was going on. And then like a few days later, they started talking, Somi was talking about this ERC 404, which is actually not on that list. And I don't think it's actually gone through all the proper channels. But I thought I'd talk about it anyway. Apparently there's some ERC 404, which is basically, I think what it does is it fractionalizes NFTs. So if you've got one monkey JPEG and you will sell it for like 100 ETH or whatever, something stupid like a rock,
you can turn it into one Satoshi.
You can sell them piecemeal now. Yeah, you can fractionalize it. So native fractionalization of NFTs. So that could be a bit of a game changer. I kind of agree with Somi, like shout out to Somi, that there's sort of always some new tech, like some new theme that comes along. And a lot of people just sort of saying, oh, it's gaming, it's AI. And I was sort of like not convinced, like BRC20s. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to stick with like layer one, native gas tokens and things like that. But then it's like maybe, hopefully someone starts doing these ERC 404s on PulseChain and we can be early adopters. And then I think that might be a good way to get eyes on PulseChain. So for any NFT devs out there, let's see what's going on. We'll see what's up.
Yeah. Well, everyone seems to be innovating. Like PulseChain is innovating pretty hard. So, and the Tang Gang and stuff, I think they'll get onto that pretty quick. If they can build the hype like they have been, it's awesome for our chain.
A lot of builders, in our community, so they're going to be right on top of it. You just know.
Yeah. Wait till Ben Armstrong tries to get his head around the Tang Gang. I think he's struggling to get his head around just Hex at the moment. But yeah, imagine that. Goodness,
it's pretty funny. Like, I mean, I kind of like to see it. All these influencers coming around, but it's like we talked about this last week, where it's like as long as they're adding value, I think he is actually. He's got a pretty good. He was one of the biggest, influencers going around, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's for sure. Cycle. I think now that he's sort of trying to make inroads with the more vocal people in the community, I think they'll try and keep him pretty honest. And if he starts moving around too much on the good stuff on PulseChain, I think they'll say something pretty quick. But he's said clearly that he's going to still keep shilling lots of other stuff. It's not just PulseChain now. Which is good. That's good because he needs to keep doing that to keep the engagement and community up. So, yeah.
I mean, you kind of expect that, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I noticed that the Richard Hart gave a shout out to KG and the Internet Money guys for their wallet.
Seems to be like once a week he's checking someone off at the moment, a project or something, mentioning it. So he's obviously into it, and I wonder if he's getting his devs to look into these projects a bit before he's talking about it. So
yeah. Do you think because he's going to be doing his own wallet, is that why you think these devs are looking into it? Or
that's a good thought. I didn't really think of that bit, or
maybe they're looking at
if it's good enough.
Maybe he'll fork it.
Yeah, he might fork it, or he might even think he might not need to if it's good enough. Who knows?
Well, that would be interesting. But I like it how he actually said, hang on, when you go to your GitLab, you've got audits and everything, but you've also got there's notes on here for the audits to so Certic, though, they're pretty big.
Yeah.
Is that? Oh, okay. Yeah. So there was some stuff in here about they had 4 resolved, 6 findings. 1 partially resolved, 1 acknowledged. So there was some things that the audit actually found that they possibly need to resolve.
Right.
Yeah. So like he was shouting them out, but he's also saying, "Hey guys,
yeah,
you've got to fix the stuff that the auditors find." Skeptical Hippo is skeptical on audits that have not been finalized.
Distracted me. Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, so yeah, that's interesting. Another thing was we were talking about last week about there was that Australian stablecoin. It's fiat backed, and it's this one. It's AUDF. One thing that I thought was interesting because it's private. It's not like a CBDC or anything. Was that it's on Ethereum and Avalanche and Polygon, and I'm like, when PulseChain?
Yeah,
maybe we need to hit these guys up and say, I thought that was interesting.
AUDF.
So what's the angle behind?
It's just a stable coin.
Why they call it F? Is it just
fort? I guess forte means strong in French and Italian, maybe. They just
it's opposite state. Strong Australian dollar.
Is it forte? Is it in Italian? Is that strong? Also that must be because they're both
strong.
Latin based. Yeah.
Come on, you're a piano player. You play the keys.
Forte, yes, that's loud, isn't it?
Yeah, loud and strong.
Yeah.
I actually think they should have called it Forte Resistant AUD. I think that would have been a much better.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
That's what I was saying. It's opposites day when they made that. Yeah.
Because obviously if it's Forte Resistant AUD, it would be FRAUD, which would.
Nice one.
That's good. Fake Toshi is in the news, talking about how he's not forging stuff. He just seems so dodgy. You need to get that skeptical hippo back for this guy. Fake Toshi, man. And RH shouted him out early days. It would be cool to actually bring that clip up. I probably should have, where he just said, that he was, that Craig Wright was cosplaying as Satoshi. That was the biggest burn.
Yeah.
Many years ago, but very, very funny. So anyway, I hope he loses that case. The bankless guys. So that was because they were talking about this 404 thing. I think that was most of the stuff that we talked about. Hex on Coinbase, the dollars. Shout out to Hodl Dog. He's a champion, of course. One of the guys early that actually got me into to Hex. He was one of the few guys out there that had sort of how-to videos and things like that, like early days. But yeah, seeing the dollar value in Pulse, that's really cool. And this I thought was funny because I haven't seen it, but I just thought that was funny. But that's
you haven't watched it?
No. The Tucker Carlson thing is out.
Before you put it up, you have to watch it off his channel.
I saw that you put it out, but I haven't seen it. So that could be an interesting watch later.
What I did with the edit I put out is I put it out, but then after the intro, I put like the highest of stakes clip as like an ad, and like at the start of it.
That was brilliant.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many people are going to watch it, but
well, I watched that the Putin interviews with Oliver Stone many years ago, and I thought it was interesting. Like, I mean, you obviously take what he says with a grain of salt, but the way that they were talking about how they didn't have the military expenditure budget that the US have, so they have to rely on really clever like cyber espionage and things like that. And there's, I think, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, check if Tangent's in the green room.
I don't see him down the bottom.
No,
is he? Okay. Is he floating around? Yeah, get him up here if we can. That would be awesome. So yeah, that Oliver Stone thing. So he was just talking about like how they have to do things on a budget. So there's examples, I think, of like a nuclear reactor. I can't remember where it was. I think it was in Iran, and they had injected someone had put some malicious code into their reactors, so they sped up the centrifuges so that they actually destroyed it through malicious code. So that seems to be like their sort of method. So but they had these really interesting things about NATO and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, I'd be interested to see what they say in that interview, but I haven't heard anything or read anything. Yeah,
very interesting, man. Just interesting to hear his perspective, which was very. I mean, from what I heard, and I'm not a historian to the level of what he was talking about. But he everything that he was talking about was like he sort of based it in historical context to justify his I guess side of the argument. Now, but whether or not that's something that people accept,
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, and so some people are just flat out Putin's a war criminal, and then just all this sort of stuff. And but I like the idea of the conversation. Like more conversation is always better, right? Like to have more discourse, more, and there was a really interesting thing that happened. It was a coincidence as well, that I was looking up some video, and I'll see if I can find it, which like led me down this rabbit hole. And then I came across this one. They were talking about the modern day prisoner's dilemma. Have you guys heard of that? Oh, you saw that? Oh, that's right.
I watched it. You put it in I watched it.
Yeah, in the chat. Yeah. So it's very interesting. I'll send it to you as well. Actually, I'll pull it up in a second and put it in the chat. But the basic idea,
there's a game that they created.
Yeah, so it was because of the Cold War between like the Russia and the US. There was some RAND corporation. They were taking game theory elements to try and resolve basically the escalation of nuclear weapons. So and so they kept, because it's the whole mutually assured destruction where everyone starts stockpiling nukes, and then as soon as one person uses them, then everyone loses. So there's a game theory sort of aspect to it. And so this game this guy made was basically like you have two teams that you could either cooperate or you could defect. And then if you both cooperate, you get 3 points. If one defects and you cooperate, then the one that defects gets, I think, 5 points. And if you both defect, you get 1 point. So as long as you're both cooperating, you create points. But then at some point, someone's going to try and defect to get the maximum points, and then the trust is gone. So then the smart thing to do is just to always defect. But then what happens is that he got all these different strategies. He got these guys to submit like all these different strategies and compete against each other. And then it turned out that the problem
with always defecting is but the problem is that you're always at war. But you're always at war.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem. Whereas if you agree or you have consensus, then you're not at war.
It's mutually beneficial. Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of flow-on effects. So you can take this as a analogy or metaphor for like conflict in the Middle East or conflict in Cold War in the 80s between Russia and US, or even between like in Hexaco we seem to have this tribal sort of divisions and factions and gang on one side and
it's
on the
interesting
other side.
It's interesting that like I heard you say something about Motley Investor posted that as well. And it's interesting that you guys are relating that to like what's going on in the Hex sort of PulseChain ecosystem
100%.
for different people. But what I gathered from it was actually different. When I was watching it, I'm like, yes, this is actually the Hex contract, because there is no.
Oh wow.
This is the Hex contract, because the way you play the Hex contract is completely dependent on how other people play the Hex contract. and how other people utilize it.
Yeah.
It's because it changes. It changes. Yeah. If no one stakes, then you get a lot more rewards than if everyone stakes. So it's different. It's like things change. And that's basically what's going on with this game theory stuff, is that like how you play the game, it depends on how other people play the game, and how they play the game depends on how you play the game. Like it's all interconnected.
Exactly. Yep. And so everyone's strategies depend on everyone else's strategy as well. And so, no, well, I sort of took it as, because I was chatting to Klaus about it the next day, because I stayed up to some ungodly hour, and I was like, oh, wow, I found out this really interesting thing about the prisoner's dilemma and the video and all this sort of stuff. And then I basically went on Twitter, and Motley had posted, like Motley Investor, shout out Motley and the guys, Wendy's, Fatendi's, those guys are legends. And so he'd posted it, and straight away I knew the context that he was talking, because I had actually thought about that like earlier. It's just weird that the coincidence that he had posted it like literally the next morning that I woke up. But the idea that I was thinking that, you know, you have these competing strategies, and the ones that perform the best in this experiment that this guy does are the ones that are, it's the tit for tat. So if one person defects, you immediately defect, so that there's like a feedback that defection has been noted, and that you're not a pushover, and then you immediately defect on them. But then you go back to cooperating. So it's not to say that you cooperate as a pushover and you're just getting, because otherwise someone will always defect against you and they will always take advantage of you. But if someone defects against you, you immediately defect back, but then you don't hold the grudge. And then you continue to cooperate. And then if they defect, you defect. And then so all of the programs basically recognized that it wasn't in their interest to defect, because they would just get defected against the next one.
There's an important proviso there, and it's that it's not a limited set of rounds. They didn't know when the rounds were going to finish, because if they did know when it was going to finish or when the rounds were going to finish, they would change their behavior based on that last round.
If you know the last round, there's no incentive, you know, to not defect. So then you just do like n-1, and then you end up defecting for the entire game. So, but if it's a continuous prisoner's dilemma where you're sort of stuck in this system together for 15 years, then you're better off to cooperate, because you actually get more points in the system in total. And so the ones that always defect, like I call the nasty ones, and the ones that cooperate are the nice ones. And then you profile it and you run it, extrapolate it over like thousands of iterations. And the ones that are nice, the ones that are, so the optimum strategy is actually to immediately defect after someone defects, like a tit for tat, but then 10% forgiveness, so that for every 1 in 10, you then let it slide. Because if you've got two people that are doing tit for tat, you end up in this cycle where you just basically at war with each other the entire time. So there is some element of forgiveness, or you could even do, you know, a tit for 2 tats, you know, would be better, or, you know, two tits for 1 tat. So 2 tits for 1 tat actually doesn't work, even though it sounds better.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a good Total Recall joke there with you remember Total Recall, where he's got the makes me wish I had 3 hands. She's got 3.
Yeah, 3.
Makes me wish.
There's also a movie called there's a movie with a woman with 3 tits. It's like a I'm just like, there's not many movies I've ever seen with a woman with 3 tits. But
are you sure it's not Total Recall?
No, it's another one. It's what's it called? It's who's the guy? You know, Jay and Silent Bob. Who's that guy?
Kevin Smith.
Yeah. So he did a movie before. I think it might be Mallrats. It might be Mallrats. So there's a scene in Mallrats where the guy, I'm not sure if it's Mallrats, I think it is. He goes to like this psychic woman and she has
she's got 3 nipples, man. She's got 3 nipples.
Oh, bro.
I remember that. That's funny.
3 nipples, 3 tits. It's like
it's all good. It's all good. That's
3
funny,
things to suck on.
Finbear, if you want to come on, bro, just let us know sometime. I know it's early for him, but he's always welcome. So where I was going with that whole, continuous modern prisoner's dilemma sort of analogy was just that, sometimes I think cooperation is actually the best strategy. And sure, you can't optimally. So you can't forgive indiscretions. And so this is also analogous to like, life when you're dealing with people, and if people are like bullying you or whatever, it's like it's fine to be able to retaliate instantly. So there's instant feedback that behavior is not acceptable, but then to not hold the grudge, to just go, now we're back to cooperating, and so I think that works on like a diplomatic level, like for like international diplomacy, but also even in like relationships and in like communities and things like that. So yeah, I thought that was a interesting analogy. And then if the fact that Motley posted it the next day, I was like, he's thinking the same as me. So therefore, I'm not just fucking making stuff up.
Guys, it's been awesome talking to you. I've got to head off. But you guys keep going. Bro. I'll listen to you guys on the way home. I'll catch up with you. Are you back next week, Dozer?
I think I'm going to start doing the happy hour every second week.
Every second week? We'll see if there's any way that we can still do it every week. We'll see. We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it depends if we've got like, if Hex Enthusiast, if you're around, or there's anyone else around, we can still do it.
Yeah, man.
Do you know why I think every week is good? Even if any one particular person can't make it every week, it's good because the viewers and let me know what you think, guys. But you like consistency. You like to know that every week something is on, so that you can join in at a particular time. So tell me if you prefer every week, press number 1. If you don't mind it being every 2 weeks, press number 2. And I'm gonna head off. All right, so catch you later, guys. And hope you guys have a good weekend.
You as well. Thanks, 43. See you, mate. Yeah, that's a good point. And also to the replay gang, like if you would prefer us to do this, weekly and just alternate, we can maybe rope in other people to do it, or yourself, Hex Enthusiast. Like I keep wanting to call you True Blue because it's easier.
Yeah. True Blue's easier. Let's leave it
True
at that.
Blue, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I was thinking of leaving it at that for now. But yeah, I think weekly is pretty good for most people. Like thinking of shows I watch myself, I like to know when it's on, and I just have that in the back of my head. If I know it's a certain day, it's like, oh, this show's going to be on, later or whatever. So you really start to remember, not just see your notifications or whatever. So I think weekly is good.
True. Yeah, I think it is as well. Yeah. I might just have to change the time or something because there's just some things that I've got to do as well, particularly next Friday. But it's like like holidays and things like that. They get in the way.
Yeah.
But
we'll work. I'm sure between everyone we can make it work.
Yeah. Teamwork makes the dreams work.
Yeah, that's it.
And then
I see Jix is in the chat. I'm sure he tends to be able to jump on every now and then.
Who? Jexa? Oh,
yeah.
There you go. He is too. Oh, well, he's always welcome. He's got the link if he wants to come on. But base rating as well.
Base rating.
Reciprocal altruism. Yeah. He's
Finbear, as long as he doesn't have 3 nipples out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hairy nipples at that too. Jesus. Yeah. If he's
so do you see all this? Have you talked about the badges scandal that's going on Twitter?
Oh, I haven't, bro. Tell me what happened.
Well, look, I think everyone just needs to relax for now, because glitches happen. But you know, like all the Hex and PulseChain badges that Maddie organised, the Godwell chipped in for, and you should have one, or you know, soon.
No,
I know
Claz got one, but I didn't. So no, that's all right.
right.
I'm not fussed.
Yeah. But yeah, so apparently they've been pulled off everyone's names the minute, or about half an hour after Richard accepted his, and his verification, his blue tick for being like a notable person, has also been taken off. So some people are getting uppity about it. I'm thinking it could be some kind of glitch in the system, or like that, because apparently, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, or it's just automated, like it's AI or something that's doing it, and it's not personal, but exactly a glitch. And then
that's what I mean. That type of thing. I don't think it is personal. Hopefully not. But yeah. I know.
Well, I actually see it as a good thing, man. I actually completely see it as a, you know, crisis-opportunity, because if we've done absolutely nothing wrong with the community, it's just been towing the line. They've paid, as far as I know, at least 27 ETH for these badges, and it was set up legitimately. Say again, sorry?
And they met the criteria to get
the criteria. People are chipping in for their own badges, not just the 27 ETH as well. A lot of people paid $600 themselves.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of money going out there on the X platform. And for them to rug it like this, like, people are rightfully so. They're peeved. But if you try and see it as an opportunity, because this might be a way that you can actually, you know, tag Elon and go, hang on, what's up? You know, you're spruiking free speech, and we followed all the rules. And have you got something against Richard Hart? Like, speak up if that's your position, because now you're keeping and censoring. It might be an opportunity to sort of go, just put him in front of Elon and sort of say, you know, money talks and bullshit walks. You know, so. You're talking up all this stuff about
if the review goes far enough down the board to where it comes to him, which, you know, I don't think it would go that far, but just say it did, then we know he's on, you know, Richard's on the map to him, and all this sort of stuff. And I think
because they've done nothing wrong, so
it's just an issue.
It's a great case. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's just an issue with Twitter. But not long after all that happened, apparently there was a scam Richard Hart account that had a blue tick.
Bugger.
And so that's pretty bad. If you see a blue tick,
that is bad. I mean, just use common sense in that regard. For what I actually saw was Sticker Guy, which, shout out to him. He said Hex user badge, or Hex badge users unaffected. So I think it was just the PulseChain badges that went down.
Oh, was it? Didn't Richard get a Hex badge, or did he get a PulseChain?
No, I think he got a Pulse badge.
Right. Okay. There we go. Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty funny that it was like Hex badge users unaffected. Like, he's like dumping on them.
Yeah, that's gold.
Because I like that in the highest of stakes, where it was like, what was he talking about? Like an ice cream van going out of business or something. And he's like, Hex users unaffected.
Exactly. Oh, it's so good.
But and there's a bit of chat here going on. Matty Allen said earlier today in his stream that there was a fake. Yeah. So that's the problem, isn't it? Like, you know, Elon sort of set this up to sort of give badges to businesses and organizations and things, and then charging quite a lot for it. And then so these guys, there's sort of a false sense of security that, we have the badges now, we can't be scammed. And then, but hang on, now the badge has been rug pulled and the verification, and there's actual scammers scamming people. It's like, so you've done more harm than good. So, you know, look, like you say, let's give them the benefit of the doubt before we start full blown,
couple of days. Yeah,
couple
of days.
Yeah, but maybe they should be tarred and feathered if they're accepting, 27 ETH and then not, it's like a service they provide and they're not providing it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, couple of days.
Yeah, couple of days. Yeah, that
Beetroot rug. Yeah. Outrageous. Site to Telegram and Twitter. This is interesting because I looked into Beetroot. I don't think I ever used it, but I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Cross-chain swaps. They kept changing their site, which was really frustrating because I was like, oh, wow, these guys do cross-chain swaps. And I went back to it and they're like, oh, no, hang on. Now they do something else. And I'm like, oh, it's under construction. And I had seen a couple of people in the Telegram sort of saying that they had been staking, but then they didn't get their stake rewards. And then there was like beef going back and forward and all this sort of stuff. But I did think it was legitimate. I never thought that they would be actual.
Yeah, I thought it was legitimate too. And I sort of at one stage got a little bit of beat just in case for future need or whatever. So it sucked to see that go down, but it was bugger all really. But do I remember right that Richard actually mentioned at one stage, because they were the only privacy on PulseChain. Did he mention something about that?
Richard's always very careful. I think he's very careful with his words. So I think he may have said something like, I've heard that some people have been using Beetroot to do whatever it was to get Pulse over to. That was back when you didn't have like Pulse in fresh wallets. With the whole you needed Pulse on the other side to get your bridged in tokens. And I think there was like, some people have been using this. So I don't think that was an endorsement. I think he's just saying that some people.
Yeah, I don't think that was an endorsement. Just it just shows that you got to be careful no matter what it is.
Yeah, man.
On the place. So if he says something about it, a lot of I see people say, oh, if he mentioned something about it, does that mean we got to go, buy in? Does that mean it's good? It's like everyone has to be so careful no matter what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to do your diligence. I mean, that's why the only reason why I was saying about those other guys like the Tornado Fork guys and things like that. It's like, it's okay if you're dealing small amounts of money, but then if you sort of send a large amount and then it doesn't end up where you think it's going to end up, then you could be, in a lot of pain. So you got to do your diligence. I just realized I never actually posted that game theory link in the chat, so I'll just do that now. This is the one where I was talking about with the prisoner's dilemma. So that's worth a watch. Finbear's got a video.
He's got me worried.
I don't know if I want to click that on stream. So
I think he's pretty good. I think he's.
Nah. Let me just see. I just concerned that if I open this up, it's. Hang on. How do I? Yeah, I don't think I can find that easily. But is there anything else going down in Hexaco?
I don't know. It's been a bit of hasn't been the busy. I mean, there's been a lot in general, some other crypto stuff, but in the way of Hexaco, it's really the Ben Armstrong thing's been the biggest, and Beetroot going down sucks. I see a lot more ramp up of talk about Pool Party with the Maximus DAO guys.
Okay.
So I think that's not far from launching. So if anyone's got Hex there, looking to stake, it's probably not far away from getting into pools where you might get a chance of getting the bigger pays better bonus and all sorts of things, and also saving gas fees as well. So
interesting.
Might be a good idea to wait, but I've just seen a big ramp up. Gold Key put a couple of videos up talking about it as well, so won't be far.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, I don't know a lot about Pool Party. I think I sort of said like a while back that was just like one too many, in the Hex derivatives. Like I was like, Maxi is awesome and Destiny, let's go. And then I was like, team, let's go.
After team
and then I was like, pool party. And then I just got bored and was like, what about Icosa? Like, whatever happened to that? Like, and then
and Barista coming out and all that sort of stuff. So I think that's when a lot of people forgot about Icosa and Hedron, hence the price charts. But yeah, they're looking good, looking strong.
Yeah, look, I think some of those are a bit of a leverage play. I think the Hedron and Icosa are still worth pursuing. And what we've seen is that the tokens that tend to get crushed the most, so Inc and PLSX. I mean, so PLSX has been outperforming PLS, and then PLS has been outperforming Hex.
Yeah.
So within that sort of microcosm, you could sort of argue that the ones that are getting crushed the most end up performing the best on the way up. Because as you know how it's that thing where you sort of go, if you've got 100x of something, and then you if you go down 25%, then to get back up to 100 from 75, you're actually going up 33%.
Yeah.
So that's the easiest way I think to explain it. So it's like you actually get more ROI on the way up when something's gone down by like a shit ton.
Sure.
And so that's why like people are like, oh, Hex is 99% down. It's like, okay, cool. But now that we've DCA'd and we've dropped our average buy, and then when it goes back up, it's going to go up by like way more than when it went down by. Like, plus you've lowered your average as well.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. For it.
Yeah, so that's the interesting thing. And DCAing, if you do your numbers, you'll find that you can really reduce your average by quite a lot by DCAing the bottom. And then the fact that you can go down 25% and then to get to the same point be up 33%, you get these sorts of things happening with Hedron and Icosa, which got absolutely crushed, even with respect to their Hex ceiling.
Yeah.
And then so when they've gone up, just to get back to where they were, just where the ceiling is, they've gone up a heap. And because of the HMI migrations and things like that, where the E Hedron and the E Icosa are going to have similar purchasing power or the same purchasing power as their P equivalents. So then people sort of notice that there's an ARB opportunity there. So I think that just pumped the whole system, and it's low liquidity. So
they were waiting for a run too. They didn't move up too hard with that initial pump. They sort of being the derivative, it seems that way. They sort of come up a bit afterwards. So I think
I would say fade them at your own risk. Like these things, and it's also like with HOA and things like that. We've seen with Solana that as much as Solana did well, and then now it's it's down again another week, another outage for Solana. But their meme coin Bonk or whatever outperformed Solana as well. So having like a lottery tickets in some of these meme coins is probably not such a bad idea as well. But you have to, the problem with that is that meme coins outperform briefly. You know what I mean? Like they're not
it's
so you have to be
and you got to know when to pull out. That's for sure.
Exactly. If you're down south or something, you come back, you're like, oh wow, my meme coin did 100x, but now it's back down to like a 3x because you just weren't there for that 8-hour period where it was mooning. So that's why it's like a lottery ticket, because to actually extract the peak ROI out of it is almost impossible.
Exactly. And over time they're not going to hold their value either, so that's for sure.
Can you believe it? We've got a
golden
late edition here with the golden mic.
He can't hear anything. There we
can't
go.
Hear us. How you going there, Tangent, mate?
What's up?
How's
Good
it going?
to see you, bro. Good to see you.
Yeah, I just decided to come in and flex on prices.
Yeah, do it, man. Do it. Actually, I haven't done any TA or anything today, so
yeah, I don't do TA
anymore.
anymore. You can't do TA on charts that just go fucking straight up. There's no that you can't draw any. What are you going to draw? A line that points to $1 million? Yes,
That's
actually,
right.
that actually is the answer to the question.
Well, Richard Hart famously did that though, didn't he? Where he was like,
yeah. And now I do it on every chart. Every chart I look at, I draw a line that goes exactly to $1 million. So
Exactly.
yeah, man, shit. We've just been pumping our fucking dials off. Obviously, like the Tangang coins have been outperforming fucking literally everything. It's
the infinite money glitch.
The infinite money glitch. It actually came true. It fucking it did.
Pretty well. Tell you.
Look, man.
But Bitcoin, PLS, like Bitcoin first.
Oh yes,
PLS, and then fucking Tangang to the moon.
Yeah, man. Look, I was just literally saying, I don't know if you could hear me, but I was just saying that like some of these low liquidity meme coins and things like that are kind of like leverage plays, but you have to be sort of savvy to when they start popping. You got to be around for it. But HOA is just consistently, man. That's a new all-time high. That hasn't really had the same sort of pump and dump that I would expect from your traditional meme coins.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's because the community has become so obsessed with providing liquidity. So you can see it in terms of the dollar value that's in the LP. It's like when people buy it, they actually just put it into the LP. So it's got one of the best LP ratios in terms of the cap of the coin versus the amount that's in the LP or amount cumulatively across all LPs. Absolutely insane. Like just absolutely insane. I think it's well over $1 million in LP. Wait, it must be even higher. But anyway, it's
you can pull it up, man. If you want to pull up.
It's just that it's spread across so many different LPs. It's like it's impossible to actually calculate. But the biggest ones, I think there's a Pepe one, and obviously it's one with PLS and stuff like that are the hugest ones. Yeah.
I really liked. I was listening to a space and Cookies was talking about when people providing liquidity, like concentrated liquidity, like V3 on 9 mil, and then it was like they might have a really tight range, and then so you might actually end up selling your HOA, but you're earning fees
as it goes up.
As it goes up, and you're selling it, but then you can just buy it back up, buy it back up, and then with the profits that you've earned from fees and things like that, and then just change your position, like you can buy back up the amount that you sold using the fees from the
strategies with LP becomes quite complex in terms of what you want to do and in terms of keeping things within ranges, or like how you're using the fees, whether you're taking those profits or whether you're putting them back in, like compounding it and stuff like that. And obviously that's to everyone's individual taste. The comment I wanted to quickly make generally is, you would have struggled to have lost money in dollar terms, basically being invested in anything that was on top of PulseChain, right? Like as in PLS itself has done like at least a 2x recently. So it's like only the like really weak coins would have been able to go down in dollar terms while Pulse is moving up like that. So you are right about it being somewhat of a leverage play. Like the further you go out onto the risk curve, the less known the coin, the smaller the cap. Typically you are doing like basically a leverage play on crypto. However, it's a safer environment to make that leverage play when the whole crypto ecosystem is going up. Because if you fuck up and pick a coin that actually goes down, it's typically still going up or staying flat in dollar terms.
Yeah.
So it's effectively like a safer time to take more risk.
Gotcha. Because it's like the liquidity bonding, it's just everything's
it's a much more forgiving market if you invest into something that ends up being a bad performer. You can have like one of the worst performers and still make money in dollar terms and beat all your no coiner friends with bad choice. Do you see what I'm saying? That's only happens in a bull market. Like that only happens in this period.
That's awesome.
So
yeah, look, it's an exciting time. You know.
Yeah, man.
I think halving's getting close. Halving's like what, 2 months away?
Yeah, yeah. It could because obviously we don't know for sure, but it's like March, April. So yeah, you're right.
That's crazy.
It's like a couple of months away. So this is like the pre-halving rally or whatever some people call it.
It's going to be back in 2 secs.
How have you been, man? How have you been, man?
Oh, not bad. Yeah, going good. Enjoying everything that's going on in crypto. That's for sure. Apart from working the normal weeks, but yeah, it's definitely interesting times. Watching, as you were saying, with the liquidity bonding or being in the start of a bull market. I know you've been perma bull for forever now, but
it
yeah,
feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. You were calling it months ago, anyway. But yeah, watching even just any part of your portfolio moving up, everything's moving up. Doesn't matter what it is, you know. Like you're saying, so it is a good time to be around and be watching it all. I see someone in the Someone in the chat said, Finbear said, funny thing, my onboard from December, all of a sudden, my best buddy. And it's like, yeah, that's for sure. When you get that little leg up that we had, definitely raises everyone's eyebrows. So, no, it's all.
Yeah,
it's all
I want everyone to remember why these systems are reflexive, right? This is part of the reason. It's like as the shit goes up, people get more bold with investing more because they're like, I'm making money now. They feel richer. They're investing more. Their friends see them making money. They want to jump in. The people who do any sort of like technical analysis or on-chain analysis or like regardless of what type of analysis you do, it starts to look more and more favorable for money to flow in. And then those things all compound everything. And that's why the more it goes up, the more it goes up. So it would be an absolute terrible time to still be a bear. They are going to get fucking destroyed. They are going to get fucking wrecked. There is no chance this shit is turning around again. Like maybe for small pullbacks at a max. We've got the ETFs. We've got the halving coming up. Like there's virtually the only narratives that I've heard that are like reasons why people don't want to invest in crypto. It's like there's some weird narrative that World War III is going to start, which I think is nonsense. And then there's like macroeconomics. But typically the shitter macro is, the better it is for crypto. Or at least you can spin that narrative to be positive. So yeah, like
cheers, gents. I got another beer and I'm back.
Nice. do either of you find yourselves in a like with a specific project that you are mainly in love with, or like a group of coins, or like do you still want to be like how would you be if you were to brand assess how others are branding you now? What would they say about where you're at in the crypto market?
I mean, so for me, you know, I'm balls deep in PulseChain and into RH coins.
RH Maxi.
RH Maxi. Yeah. So, but no, I would say I'm a profit maximalist. I just happen to think that that PLS and Hex are going to outperform most things. But I kind of see it as like with your entire, you know, asset portfolio, you might have real estate and things like that, which might have relatively shit ROI, but it's in theory slightly more stable, you know. And so that's where you might have the majority of your fund sort of thing. And a lot of people disagree, but then as you go down that asset class thing, and you might say that stocks are more volatile, more risk, and then you would have like less money, and then crypto, you would have even less money. I basically have just bypassed stocks completely and just gone straight to crypto, where I've just gone, okay, I've accepted that there's, you know, outsized returns in crypto because of the volatility, and I'm willing to ride that volatility if to be able to get those gains, because I think it's the best chance that I've got to sort of escape the rat race, to pay off my houses, to sort of, you know, put myself in a better position. So then I kind of have that same like risk spectrum approach to my coins, where I sort of go, I've got, you know, you core coins and things like that. But like, if there's other coins over here that are giving me outsized returns, and they're even more volatile, then it's like you just got to trade them, unfortunately. And a lot of them are pump and dumps and things like that. But like I say, HOA actually hasn't had extreme volatility at all. It's kind of been relatively like the volatility has not been that extreme.
Yeah, it's been badass. It's been fucking badass.
Yeah. So, but there's some coins that I've like dipped my toe in and that's just gone down to nothing. And then other ones that have done really well. So a bit of a mixed bag, I would say.
Yeah, I'm not far off the same. It's just, not having a lot of time to be in front of a computer for myself, where I'm, not, only a few times a week I'll be able to get to one, is where I find myself being more of a RH maxi, because like focusing on the core coins, but I'm always listening in to everything else that's going on and keeping an eye on, daily throughout the day with Twitter and YouTube streams and stuff. So I'm interested in all the other coins, and I want to, like, you get that itch. It's like that, almost like that fight, the push and pull fight of, no, I should just stay here. And then it's like, you hear everything else and see how the other ones are going, and definitely want, I want to get in on it. But not having the time to focus on it is hard, because I don't want to make, those mistakes. So hopping around in Telegram rooms and, being tight knit in communities and stuff, I find it very hard at the moment. So when I get that opportunity, I might be too late for it, but I'll be diving in deep then. So
well, that's really interesting, because there's a problem with diversification, where you diversify so much into so many things that the one thing that was actually outperforming everything else is the thing you should have been just stacking. And I kind of fluctuate between diversifying and then consolidating and things like that, where I kind of go, hang on, why don't I just get more and more pulse? And that way I don't have to do as many X's, and then new projects come out, right? And I'm not, so I'll never fade something, because I'm sort of like, it's that thing that, so Tangent, you basically taught me that whole thing about regret minimization, and that if you think that it's too late, like a lot of the times it's not too late. Like it's only been like 4 days or something. And you think, what can I do? That token has gone up too much now. There's no point in getting in. And then it just keeps going up. And you think, well, really, you talked yourself out of it. And then people get emotional. They start to resent the coin that goes up against their coin. And because they never went into it, they're like, they have some emotional sort of bias where they're like, I hate this coin because they didn't get in.
Yeah, you have to factor in your time. Like you guys have both said, you've got to factor in your time and your availability to you've got to be realistic about how much you're going to be able to actually allocate and stay on top of that stuff. And some of these things do, especially with these smaller communities and stuff, sometimes requires you to pay attention. Like the infinite money glitch requires clicking, although I think someone's going to automate that shit maybe. Like with Barista. So I'm hanging out for Barista, man, so fucking badly to do the automation of the liquid loans thing. Cool. And then I think if you're realistic with yourself, then you're going to have a better time. And I agree with you that if you just grab, like, if you've got minimal time, basically the Bitcoin strategy that Bitcoiners used to use, where you just fuck everything else off and you just get Bitcoin, you stack sats, you can absolutely do that with PulseChain and Hex. I like someone recently said, Hex is like our Bitcoin and PulseChain is our Ethereum. So we've basically got Bitcoin and Ethereum, but the RH versions. And I really like that analogy, and I probably invest in them in a way that mirrors that sort of attitude. Hex is the store of value. 100%. PulseChain is the fucking EVM L1 play for this cycle, and then anything else is just sort of for fun.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. Yeah,
the infinite money glitch you're talking about, that's using the two separate LP farms, isn't it? And arbing the reward token type thing. Yeah,
so you're basically it's not technically an arb. It's just that they've created, so two farms collaborated to have their incentive token and the other farm's incentive token each paired together on each farm. So so that you can farm both, and then on top of that, so that then you can basically put them back together and recompound them into either farm.
Yeah.
But on top of that, this is the thing that people forget, because it's not as apparent yet because the token doesn't exist. But every action that you do on 9 mil, you get points that go towards getting tokens. So there's actually you're getting like 3 tokens with this play. You're getting the OG token from the Pussycat farms. You're getting the Enigma diamonds from the Rentomania diamond mines, and then you're also getting 9 millimeter token, which you can stake once it exists to earn platform revenue. Because the liquidity that they have that is required for those farms is the 9mm V2 LP. So it's like a 3 token. It's like a 3 token play. Obviously, if you look at the charts, anyone who got involved in that idea and play at any point in the past from here is like stoked, because the token prices have been going up. Obviously that aspect of it is not necessarily guaranteed, that the price just keeps going up in a straight line. But I think the play's sound, like it's mathematically sound. And by the way, Cookies correctly says you can go to an AI and give it all the parameters, explain the shit to it, and ask it if it can see any problems with how defensible that yield strategy is. And the AI basically says it's fucking G. Like it's very good. The
AI just goes, nice.
The AI's like, go all in. The AI's like,
how do I get involved?
Can you buy some for me? Like the AI's like, here's my fucking
just onboarding GPT-4.
Let me send you some E. Let me send you some E.
Man, you know that's where it's heading, right? Like AI is just going to be going, once it becomes sentient, it's just going to go all in on like Pulse or something, and then just just scale up and then just start buying countries. So I did that the infinite money glitch with, I think, because I had some OG, because I was buying some like NFTs and things like that, and I really like the idea that you had with the 99-cent NFTs. And I thought that was a really cool way to just kind of like chill, have the stream, the space going, and then just checking out all the different art and for $1, it's like you don't care, you just buying it. So I had a bunch of OG, and then it was like, I think I was farming it in the Pussycat farms, and then then I did the Rentomania, the diamond mine farms. And then it was like you could just take the LP tokens and put them into the 9 mil V2. I think that's how. I haven't touched it since. That's
but by the way, Hocus Pocus has created a farming aggregator. So they don't have their own farms; they've just aggregated everyone else's farms. So you can go to this one website, and you can filter by the farms that you have assets in. So then on the screen,
I think I saw your stream the other day. Yeah, I saw a bit of that. Yeah,
fucking incredible, bro. It's incredible. Awesome. And so, like, if you're not just Tangang related farms, it's like any farms on PulseChain, it'll show you all. And then they've just implemented a claim all button now. So you can click claim all, and it will queue up all the signatures to claim from all the farms from all the different protocols.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And because their shit's on full auto, so if any of those teams make a change, because the changes have to be made in the MasterChef contract, so their farming wizard immediately sees those changes on the blockchain, like within a block, and updates the front end. So there's no manual, there's no manual aspects to it. It also you can also see all the farms that have ended. So if you have assets in a farm and then that farm closes, it will still show there when you say, tell me the ones that I've got assets in, and it'll say finish. And then you're like, oh, I've got assets sitting in a farm that's like turned off now.
That's closed.
Pull my asset. So pull it. I've been using it. Like even the Pussycat dev team have been promoting it, like saying this is dope.
Awesome.
And so it's dope. That Hocus Pocus farming was absolutely brilliant.
That's wicked, man. And I think maybe when Tetra starts doing their shit as well, people are going to be able to do some cool stuff with that as well.
Yeah, I'm keen for that as well.
Yeah, just automate.
Bro, I fucking knocked a domino over with like a couple of tweets where I was like chirping at these service providers to support PulseChain.
Right.
Now everyone's coming to me being like, oh, what about like, can you do this one as well? Like get attention on this.
Yeah.
Let's get these guys to support and stuff.
And we need, that's your job, man. We need you. You're the golden retriever of crypto, but you're also Hex Karen. You need to be like getting all these people.
I'm fucking PulseChain Karen. Like just complaining.
I don't know if you want that.
Complaining to the
I like
manager about the shit that I don't like and getting people to fix it. It's crazy. But yeah, I've even had protocols approach me where they're like, oh, we'll support PulseChain and shit. Like what's up? Like, because
that's wicked.
I think that momentum's in the right direction. Where
why not, man?
Where we're gonna get and then the more of that there is, the more tooling we get, the more adoption we get, the more attention we get. It's brilliant. I put together a team to solve this not seeing the dollar values on the fold down list when you're on a block scanner.
I remember you talking about that with Ivan.
I went fucking full Karen. I complained.
It's good. We need to
do it.
I called up the CTO of PulseChain and I said, this is unacceptable. We need to solve this. Got everyone in a room together. So we've got like Oracle people, we've got API people, we've got people that are external to the chain, that are non-PulseChain. We've got all the devs of all the scanners. Like everyone's in there. There's a couple of key players that are not in there, but there are people in there that say that they're tight enough with those guys that they can force them to come in.
Right.
So pretty soon we're going to have like basically the fucking A team, like the dream team. And if that group cannot solve, KG was amazing. He came in and just revved everyone.
They'll smash it. Yeah.
KG's got an amazing balance. By the way, shout out Internet Money.
We were talking about them earlier.
Seriously.
Yeah.
He's such a G.
Just so, yeah.
He's just best attitude, best balance of like technical competency as well as like knowledgeable with all. So when he came into the group, kind of supercharged it. And but I believe if this group cannot solve this issue, then it is unsolvable. So someone in the group will smash it. Someone in the group was already like, "Yo, guys, I'm gonna actually just go and solve it." Like
just while you're waiting there.
It wasn't meant to sound like a flex, but they were like, "Hey guys, like I'm still gonna be involved in what you guys are doing here, but I think I'm actually gonna pull the trigger on this shit over here, which is a potential solution for their scanner."
That's awesome.
And so I'm not gonna dox who it is or what scanner that is, but dude, I believe in this group to get the fucking job done.
That's wicked. That's cool, man. I mean, we've got dollar amounts for PulseChain on MetaMask now. So that's pretty cool. But we still need the rest of it. So I think this is what Twitter is for, really, is for us to be able to sort of assemble en masse and kind of, ideally in a positive way to sort of try and get cooperation with some of these dApps and services and infrastructure or whatever we have to do, just to kind of say, look, we've got this many users and you guys want engagement. We've got that in spades. But what we want is for you guys to provide some sort of service, and they should be happy to do it. Yeah. That's the service they provide.
That's sort of similar to what
attention.
Similar to what the Tangang does in terms of like offering attention in an attention economy for value in return. And so basically call to action on the viewers. If you think you or someone else that you know should be a part of that group to solve that issue, hit them up and tell them to contact me to get in that Telegram. It's a private Telegram, just specifically, literally specifically for solving this fucking issue where we don't see the dollars of the token like you would when you're on an ETH scanner and you fold your tokens down and they're ordered by dollars. I want that shit on PulseChain.
And so what about the that other block scanner that we've been hitting them up for on Twitter? Have you seen that? I had it up earlier, but
the guys in this group are like, they're not that optimistic of what those guys would be able to do in a short duration. So basically, where we're at the moment, it's good. Like more options are better. I'm glad we're crushing that vote. It shows, but if nothing else, it shows the power of the PulseChain community. They absolutely fucking annihilated it. Like took out first position by like a 2x, like just fucking obliterated.
Is there another community? I don't think so.
Chia was
Chia, I think was
yeah.
The funny thing is, in the Tangang, we've actually got quite a few we've actually got like high-end Chia devs that actually build for us on PulseChain.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So there's Chia fans in there, including Cookies. He's a fan of Chia. And some of them asked for the Tangang support to vote on Chia in that poll, like way earlier. And then the PulseChain push came through and just flooded. Like Tangang was early on the PulseChain push as well, by the way, before anyone was really talking about it. The Tangang. Yeah, we got the timestamps to prove it and everything in the Tangang chat. There were people who were already driving that idea of running that vote up. Chia's legit, but and their Chia community's got really good attitude. They've got a good cypherpunk attitude, or at least the community does. And what was the question? Oh, in terms of
just whether that block scanner was going to be any good.
The guys in that Telegram that I put together, they're not optimistic of what could be achieved by that voting thingo group in a short duration at low cost. Like so. Realistically, we've come to the realization that the solution to this problem, it either takes a lot of time or a lot of money or both. So, so the idea that these other guys are just going to like walk in and go, oh, here, it's all fixed and shit.
Yeah, as if the 9mm guys
it's super unlikely. Yeah, they're obviously aware of the problem and have tried to solve it in
because the 9mm that's my go-to block explorer is the 9mm one. I set that up as the default in my wallets. So look, if the 9mm guys haven't sussed it, then I doubt it's just an easy fix.
It's not an easy fix. It's not an easy fix. Unfortunately, it's not just like, oh, we've got this API over here, just plug into it and then the shit will show up. It's not that. So otherwise it's already done.
Yeah. And do you think RH is actually working on that as well? Or because he did talk about producing a new block scanner, but then there's been so many like auto scans and this and that.
People float rumors around that some of these other teams are actually core dev related or somehow supported or funded or whatever. These are just rumors. So it's hard to know exactly what, like, obviously we only know what RH says publicly, and he hasn't publicly said anything about.
Good to see RH supporting KG. We talked about that earlier, and instant money
and liquid loans.
And
he tweeted out about liquid loans. I heard he tweeted out instant money. I haven't even seen the tweet yet. I should go and retweet that now.
Yeah, he straight out said.
Yeah, but he did say that, you know, apart from just shilling it, we brought this up earlier, but basically that the audits did find a couple of things and they need to resolve them. You know, the CertiK audits or whatever, there was one or two unresolved things. So he was kind of saying, some people think that this is awesome, but also, you know, it would be good to see these audits go away. I was speculating that he was going to try and fork the internet money wallet.
Or buy them out.
Or just buy them out, because they do his own, you know, RH wallet. So that's why he wanted them to resolve the
if he buys them out, then he gets the entire development team that's already working on it. It would make sense. So the other one was the conferences is another thing that he shouts out that's not his. So like, I'm really happy to see this shift in him. There's another one. There's another example, but I'm not going to say it because I believe that he was shouting it out in the negative. Like, so there was a tweet that he did where he was calling for haters to take a certain action. And people framed that as if he was promoting a certain protocol. And we're like, no, RH doesn't promote this thing because he's on the record saying that it gets people wrecked. So he's not going to promote something that gets people wrecked. He was doing it sarcastically. He was saying, haters, go and do this. Because I want haters to get wrecked. So people need to use a bit of common sense when they're reading shit. It's like, if he's saying haters go and do this, it's clearly bad for you, right? Like, But regardless of how people want to frame it, and some people might say I'm framing it, these are examples of him starting to talk about things that are not just exclusively RH founded things, which I think is great. I think that's fucking really positive.
Look, people are allowed to update their worldview, and RH has been a big proponent of it, where it's like, if you show me some data that suggests otherwise, then, you know, we're not going to get emotional about it. We're just going to take the best approach. And so the fact that, like, so originally people would sort of say, well, you know, he shouldn't talk about any other protocols, and who cares if PulseChain has only got Hex on it? I think that worldview has now been updated, where it's like, hang on, there's a lot of people building, and the robustness of the chain is now dependent on some of these other protocols and things like that as well. So it doesn't hurt to shout them out.
Also, when Richard Hart did his video, he said one orange is one orange. I don't think that was a coincidence. And
well, I pushed back on that, man.
And he follows a lot of people in the Tang gang. He follows, follows people in the Tang gang, including me. But yeah, look,
me as well.
I was half joking, like, but
yeah, I think we talked about this maybe on the chat, but never in person. But I pushed back on that only because the original Howie test sort of
is oranges.
Court case was the Orange Grove, where they were exactly. So for people who aren't necessarily familiar, and I'm probably butchering it after a couple of beers, but the idea was that they would have these orange farms, and then they would, I think, lease them back to. So they would lease them back to the people.
Investment contract.
And they deemed it an investment contract
that involved their maintenance and managerial effort of managing the farms so that there could be profit. But the thing is, right, we know two things, right? One, Richard Hart is fucking smart, and the reason he wasn't doing live is so that he can get lawyers and shit to look over his stuff and be very careful with his wording. And two, he's fully aware of the Tang gang, because it's like literally the entire of X might as well just be orange. And so I think if he would know that if he wants to actively not shout out the Tang gang, he would have used a different example. Is my counter. I can't prove it, but it seems logical to me that he wouldn't fuck something up like that up. Like,
but so the only reason why I was sort of pushing back on it, because the very first example of someone that's like selling a parcel of land and then leasing it back to them, but then farming it was for orange grows. So there's like an orange is not so it was the the first example of it. But whereas like you say, he could have easily have just changed it to any other farm.
Could have picked any other example.
You know,
he probably wouldn't have minded it being used as that. You know, if it was taken that way, he was probably cool with it. It's
a win-win for him, right? It's a win-win for him.
Yeah, look, I never want to, put words in other people's mouths or speak for them.
True as well.
No idea what he is thinking. But in general, I would think the more adoption that we get, the better. If we can reach out to more communities, the better. The more things we can build, the better. So everyone, and I was talking about this prisoner's dilemma thing earlier, where I was saying about the idea that that cooperation is actually a better sort of, even in a zero-sum game, that you can kind of mutually beneficial for everyone. So there's a lot of game theory elements to it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just going to say, last thing, we've been going for so long now that we're sort of circling back to the original things.
That's perfect timing for me. I need to jet anyway. So
you need to go. That's cool. I just wanted to bring this up. I didn't want to feel like this slap me to be like feeling like I'm like gatekeeping his comment. But we did talk about this earlier. That beat. It's a beat. It's beat. You heard about that?
I just heard recently from one of the telegrams I'm in that they deleted all their socials. Is that right?
Yeah, that's not a good sign, man.
Dude, that's game over. Like, unfortunately, that's really bad. That's really bad.
Pour one out for my homies, because
you wouldn't do that. Like, you absolutely would not do that if you were planning a path to some kind of
resolution. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And this is the problem with not
I didn't realize,
founders.
dude. I didn't realize that. So I thought people were just saying that they got wrecked because of the crash in the price. I didn't realize that there was actually like a staked thing that people actually 100% lost what was in there.
Lost because
So that then it's not even like, oh, maybe the price will recover, maybe I'll get unwrecked. It's like it's over, like it's gone. Man, that's tragic.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. But hopefully there is some positive that comes out of that. But it's a developing thing, I guess. So probably shouldn't comment on it. But it's not a good look when they delete their socials and start ghosting. That's never a good sign, is it?
That's a massive red flag.
Yeah.
Hey, Tangent, anyway, you're not seeing all that stuff about beat coming up. Must mean the algorithms are treating you well on the Tang Talk.
The Tang Talk.
Oh, do you mean on Twitter?
No, I was just having a joke about not seeing.
I very rarely. So I get so many notifications on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
That draw me to specific posts.
Yeah.
That I'm actually rarely just like I'm on Twitter a lot, but F all of that time is just random surfing. It's like always it's always basically going because of the notifications, going to specific posts, maybe reading the comments there, but then and then it's just notification. So maybe I would have seen more about it, but I found out about it because of the chat that we've got for organizing these streams on this channel. Sammy was the one who first mentioned it in that chat.
Yeah. No, cool.
Yeah. Just last thing before we wrap it up, while we've got you here, Tangent. So there's Free Mint Fridays for Tangang going down. Is there a new iteration of the Tang Talk wireless?
That'll be in about 12 hours from now. There'll be a Free Mint Friday. The Tang Talk free. Just sorry to smash people's hopes and dreams, but the Tang Talks will never be free. Like there were 50 out of the first 1,000 that were given away to Tangang members. I didn't get one, by the way. I paid for mine.
I had to pay for one.
50 would have just gone instantaneously with how much demand there was for them. And but isn't there a new version of it or something? I thought Drac was releasing version 2. I think they're going to do a phase 2. But so some people are like, oh, well, does that mean it's going to like dilute and devalue the phase 1 ones? Absolutely not. Those phase 1 ones are always going to be seen as the ones who effectively funded those devs to become financially free enough to focus purely on dev work and not have to have day jobs. So that first 1,000, they are going to be like lifetime. So any upgrades that they do will be free for life on those first 1,000. So they will always retain a higher price tag than the other ones. But the other ones are now to start to get adoption on the network. So other chains, they'll be doing. I actually thought the other phases were going to go onto other chains and start doing 1,000 on Chia, 1,000 on Polygon, 1,000 on Ethereum. But I think the demand on PulseChain has been so high and so many people missed out that they want to do another phase of PulseChain, and then they'll start doing other phases, 1,000 on each network. By the way, the Tang Talk is network agnostic, chain agnostic, device agnostic, and networkless. So you literally can use it on any device. You can be on any chain once they roll out onto those other chains, and it doesn't actually have a network. It's all like it's on Chia data layer and shit like that, where it'll just be completely decentralized.
It's amazing.
So it's pretty dope.
It looks like the second phase, they've got 400. You need to have the 69420 HOA, 350 NFTs, and a public mint. Must have some Enigma. So there's a couple of things. Check out Bullish Ox.
Oh shit! So is it free? Are they free?
Oh, this is the second one. I don't know if I didn't really read that well,
because they sounded like whitelist requirements and not prices.
Yeah,
unless it says it should be. It's probably priced in OG. It's probably priced in OG. That's probably why the OG.
Oh, $150. Sorry, $150.
Perfect. And in OG, yeah.
Priced in PLS.
Oh, priced in PLS. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
But yeah, it looks like you need some Enigma as well.
Obviously not the reason why OG is mooning at the moment. But you need Enigma and HOA as the requirements to even be able to buy it with PLS.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
So is that happening this Free Mint Friday?
It will be the same time.
I assume not, because typically we don't allow paid mints. Like Free Mint Friday, it's free. It has to be free. So if you're doing a free mint, it'll be Free Mint Friday. So that's either at a different time or maybe tomorrow or something at Sucker Free Saturday.
Yeah, interesting. It looks like the snapshot is around about the time of the usual Free Mint Friday.
Or maybe they made some kind of exception. So the snapshot will be during Free Mint Friday, and then probably the mint will be tomorrow or something. Anyway, you'll see details come out on the timeline once people know what's up.
Yeah. And last question was with the Tank Talk Wireless. So this Jack guy, the dev.
So he's a cheer dev.
And so this is the ERC 721, I think. Is it? I have to double check.
I forget which one it is. Is it the one?
But it's not like he's got like a new set of ERC20s. Because have you heard about these ERC 404s that they're talking about where you got fractionalized NFTs?
I am aware of them. So the problem with those, without getting into too much detail, is they're like relatively untested. And I don't do appeal to authority, but normally with an ERC standard, they run through and it actually gets it has stages to become a standard approved by the Ethereum. These devs went rogue, went, fuck your procedure. This is decentralized. True statement. We can do whatever we want. So they launched this standard without it meeting the same standards as the other standards, right? And so the idea is, because a lot of people get this twisted, the main idea is, and look, I don't know necessarily everything about it, but here's the general reason for it. It allows you, so it doesn't allow you to inject tokens into NFTs like what Engine Coin was trying to do back in the day. It's not that.
Right.
What it does, it allows you within that, for that specific token only, you can batch tokens together to create an NFT that represents some amount of those tokens. I don't even know whether they are discrete amounts or whether you can just do any amount.
Right.
And you can then go on an NFT marketplace and sell. So I could say put 100,000 HOA. If HOA was an ERC, terrible example because that's confusing. But you could put of one of these new tokens, say we call it Billy token. You can get 100,000 of them, create an NFT that is those 100,000 tokens, put it on an NFT marketplace, and effectively do an OTC trade.
Yeah.
Someone else, because you can list the price for that many tokens. And it's outside of the free market or the spot market for that token.
Over the counter. Yeah.
So it just allows people to basically do OCT trades using NFTs is really what it is.
That's cool.
And it kind of bundles, I think, the ERC20 and the ERC 721s into another ERC token as such.
So it uses elements of both of those other standards within the contract to allow it to have that function. But once you've done that, it's no longer either of those two standards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a new token completely.
Talking about how it's combined those two standards together is only for understanding purposes, not technical purposes. Yeah.
But it's pretty amazing that if you sort of think of it that way, that they're starting to be able to create tokens which are a combination of two other tokens.
Cool. It's a cool idea. It's a fucking cool idea. It's just they just rushed it.
Yeah, I just would like to see the Tang Gang or some of the guys kind of embrace that tech while it's sort of hot and in the in everyone's sort of ears, because it might actually bring some adoption as well.
Yeah, well, Almighty Hexagon, who's I think he's the founder of the Hedron S'mores address, which is like it's like it's a take of, it's like the Hedron version of what HOA is to Hex. He basically said, hey, like the Tang Gang is perfectly positioned to do something like this because they're already known by everyone for being having tokens and NFTs and also always being on the cutting edge of all these different technologies.
Exactly.
All the most innovative shit. Yeah. So maybe we like it's a free group. Like someone in the group might. I'm not going to personally, but someone in the group might fuck with it. Yeah,
that'd be cool. Awesome, man. All right, I better let you guys go. It's Friday Arvo. People want to.
Cheers, man. I'm really glad I made this one for a little bit. And
good.
Peace out.
Good to see you, bro.
Thanks for dropping in.
Rock on.
See you guys.
Awesome. Catch you, mate. And Hex enthusiasts, did you want to say anything else before we wrap it up?
No, I think that's about it. That was good.
Tangent
brought the energy at the end there.
That's it. I was waiting. I had to get my second beer. That was good. Awesome, bro. Well, in that case, I'll probably see you in 2 weeks, but
Yeah, no worries.
maybe someone
Sounds
else
good.
can take over. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll rope Tangent in to take over next week.
Yeah, that'll be killer. All right, see everyone in the
Awesome.
chat.
Thanks, chat. Thanks very
Jim.
much. Catches.
Catch
Enjoy
you.
your weekend.